Hello, everyone, fellow students, and our esteemed guests. I'm Kurt Lopez, your host for today's webinar. I'm excited to kick off today's exploration into a topic that is as visually enticing as it is creatively engaging. Welcome to our webinar, Visual Manipulation Formulating Stories Through Film Poster Design. In a world inundated with visual content, proficiency in graphic design is an invaluable skill. As we embark on this educational journey, we will approach the topic with clarity and precision, adhering to a structured curriculum, catering to novice users and those seeking a comprehensive refresher. Before we start the whole program, I would like to acknowledge Dr. Juliet S. Reyes, our principal, and Mrs. Amorfina Glonaga, our assistant principal, for joining this webinar. Now, I will give the floor to Ms. Janica Topongot for the opening prayer.
For a while po, let me share again my screen.
Gateway to a cinematic universe, capturing our attention, piquing our curiosity, and as well a film poster serves as the gateway to a cinematic universe, capturing our attention, piquing our curiosity, and as well as igniting our imagination. But what goes into creating a visually captivating film poster? It all comes down to the art of visual manipulation, where designers skillfully weave together different elements to encapsulate the essence of a story in a single image. So join us now into the captivating world of film poster design, where visuals come alive and stories are condensed into breathtaking works of art. And of course, let's begin with a short prayer. So please bow your head and let us take a moment to center ourselves. Dear Lord, as we gather here today to discuss our webinar, we ask for guidance, wisdom, and blessings. May our discussion be productive and fruitful, filled with ideas and inspiration that will benefit all those who attend. We pray for clear communication and understanding, that our words may be impactful and that our message may resonate with our audience. Grant us the ability to convey our thoughts effectively and engage our participants in a meaningful way. May this webinar be a source of empowerment, growth, and transformation for all involved. We express our gratitude for this opportunity, for the time and effort that has been put into preparing for this webinar. And also, we are thankful for the support of our instructors and those who are participating right now. May it be a truly enriching experience that empowers us to make a positive impact on the world. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me in this prayer. So now, let's proceed with our discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Janikov. And now, I will welcome Ms. Flor Mestica, our advisor for this webinar, to give her opening remarks.
Good afternoon, Antonians, and welcome to this afternoon's webinar on visual manipulation. I am thrilled to see you all here today, as I know that your ates and kuyas at the Higher Education Unit of the College of St. Anthony have been preparing well for this event. I also know that they are as excited as I am for them to share with you the invaluable lessons and insights they have gained as multimedia art students of CSA. We hope that you will find this webinar engaging and insightful, sparking your imagination and igniting your interest in multimedia arts. And so, let's begin this creative journey together and discover the boundless possibilities of visual storytelling. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mystica, for those beautiful remarks. Fellow Antonians, are you ready to delve into the film poster design? So before that, let us have an icebreaker to be led by Mr. Even Santamaria and Miss Sara Rotea Tejada.
So, good afternoon, everyone. So, I am Sara Tejada, and he is
Hello,
even.
my name is Steven po.
Yes po.
Um,
You can call us ate and kuya na lang if you want. So, for our icebreaker, meron lang po kaming questions for everyone. Madali lang naman po siya. So, may I ask to click a reaction na lang from everyone if ready na po kayo sa mini icebreaker natin. Ayan. Ayan, thank you po. Thank you. So, for the first question, you may raise your hand sa Gmeet or you can also type your answers na lang sa chat box. So, ayan, as you can see, our first question, we want to know lang what are your favorite movies po? So, habang nagta-type ko po kayo, I will share my favorite movie as of now. So, ang favorite movie ko right now, based sa plot, is if alam niyo yung A Simple Favor, it is a film adaptation from a book. So, ayun. Yun guys. What are your favorite movies? You may type lang sa chat box if nahihiya kayong mag-open mic. Wait. So, since nakita ko po dito si Miss Zyle Ginto, our president po of Student Council, may I ask Ate Zyle if what is your favorite movie po?
Hello po. Ayan, thank you po, Ate Sarah. Siguro po one of my favorite films of all time po siguro is The Book of Life po. Kasi it show very colorful yung graphics and kumbaga napapakita yung culture ng mga Mexicans. And of course, the story po, very child-friendly and even for adults din siya. So, ayun po.
Ayun, thank you Ate Zyle. So, ayun, may nakita po ko sabi ni Miss Mestica, her favorite film is Little Woman, si Sir Lorenzo, The Notebook, Miss Costuna, Tuesdays with Maury, Miss De Silva, she's dating the gangster. Oh, same with Miss Elizabeth Sampayan, she's dating the gangster. Oh, Katniel. So, um, Miss 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 or Mr. Alexander Vergara, Legally Blonde. Oh, her. Oh, Nemesio Esquivel the third. Her. Oh, that's good. Kaya Silvancia, tama ba? Porco Rosso. Ooh, Maria Kyla, Shane Bernales, Bloodhounds, Joe Breaker, Knives Out, Nowhere, As Above, So Below, Up. Oh, Three Idiots, Coco. Oh, Inside Out, Princess Mononoke, as of right now, yes. Oh, si Miss Cat, Tangled. Oh, and 1984. So, ayun guys, thank you. Ayun, meron pa.
meron
Spider-Man
pa,
from
ayan.
Don Ethan Pablo. Ayun, thank you for participating sa first question. So, merong second question si Kuya Even po para sa inyo. So, go ahead.
Yes, so yun, for the second question naman, what are or is your favorite film poster or posters? So to start off, my favorite posters siguro are Mother, which was released in 2017 I think, and also yung sa everything everywhere all at once. So the reason behind is because medyo rare na sa mga films right now to actually have a poster na sobrang graphically detailed and such. So ayun, kaya ko siya favorite din as of now. So ano naman, you may raise your hand na lang siguro sa Gmeet mismo or you can also type your answers na lang din sa chat box na lang if ano yung mga favorite film posters niyo right now. Puwede niyo rin idagdag kung ano yung reason bakit favorite niyo siya.
Wow.
Oh, so for Mr. Vergara, sabi niya is Hunger Games series. Oh, favorite ko rin po siya. Share ko lang naman po.
Oh, oh, dalawa
Oh,
nagsabi
The
ng
Grand
ano.
Budapest Hotel, yes.
Miss Costula said poster of Silence of the
Silence of
Lambs.
the Lambs.
How about the others po? What are your favorites? Oh, last one.
Oh, Glass Onion.
Your name. Oh, her ulit.
Pearl, ano?
Wow.
Oh, ako. Oh, Inside Out because of the vivid colors, yes.
Prince Tyrone said Star Wars. Yes. Miss
According
Lu-
to the kanay naman, Pride 2007. Wait, search.
Oh, I want to eat your pancreas.
Oh,
Sabi ni Really Roderos. Yes.
that anime ba? Wait, gusto ko din yan.
Sige, sige.
Pride 2007. Oh, gets.
Scream. Oh. So, sa lahat po ng sabi ng film posters, may gusto po bang mag-share if bakit niyo siya favorite film poster? So, poster design. Suicide Squad, sabi ni Miss Aryan.
Anyone po? Siguro si let's call on, wait. Si is Julian Duan Dakanay? Tama ba? State mo lang kung like yung reasons mo bakit favorite mo yung poster ng Pride. Which was released in 2007, tama.
Ayan, narinig ko ni Miss Dakanay. Oh, sabi ni Miss Alicia.
Hal?
How?
Hal.
Yes.
Tama
Miss
ba?
Alicia Rivera, can you share po why do you like the film poster of Hal?
Ayun, hi! Hi po ate,
Hello.
kuya. Ano po, yung Halitson anime movie and recently ko lang din po siya napanood. So, and I really like yung poster po kasi it reveals yung elements na kasama sa storyline na you wouldn't think are important at first, pero as the story unfolds, mag-gets mo, kaya siya nandun kasi may like significant role pala siya sa film. And also yung vibrant colors din po, ang ganda.
Ayan.
Oh,
Ikaw
na-search namin,
naman.
yes. Vibrant colors, yes. Oh, thank you for sharing po. Thank you for sharing. Ano ulit team niyo? Miss Alicia Rivera. So,
Mm.
ayun, we will give back the floor to Mr. Kurt Lopez. Sana po na-enjoy niyo yung mini icebreaker namin ni Kuya Even. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, thank you everyone for participating. We hope you enjoyed our little icebreaker, and hopefully it excites you more about digging into our webinar. Before proceeding to the main event, let's first watch the teasers for Domain 13 and Pen Pen de Sarapen for the context of the poster designs.
Hello.
Welcome to Domain 12. This is Vin, your AI assistant. Would you like a preview of your past life? Understood. Initiating. Rewind.
So before we proceed to the prepared presentations for our speakers, please be informed that you are asked to take screenshots with a precise date and time during the webinar to clarify your attendance. Now, without further ado, let's move forward and welcome our first speaker, Ms. Divine Isip. Currently, she is the second-year multimedia art student at the College of St. Anthony and is the president of Inservio. She was a graphic designer and photo editor of POP Icons, Polytechnic University of the Philippines, resident advertising and modeling organization from 2020 to 2022. She worked under events such as the Iconic U in 2020, POP Fashion Festival in 2021, POP's Next Top Model in Season 5, 2021, and POP Fashion Festival in 2022. Lastly, she is the director, writer, and the editor of Domain 13 for Antonian's College Film Festival of 2023. So let's give a virtual clap to Miss Divine Isid.
Thank you for that humbling introduction. But before going to the in-depth yet brief tutorial on how I did the posters for the main 13, I'll talk a bit about the conceptualization of the posters. In terms of the layout for the film poster, it is somehow like my original concept. Then as I went with editing, I tried out different layouts and minor adjustments, such as having the antagonist behind the protagonist. And then for typography, I went with something similar to the Dune movie poster with a sans serif font. Sans serif fonts are the likes of Arial or Helvetica, basically the opposite of Times New Roman. It doesn't have the little ticks by the end of each characters. Here I use pop-ins, then I just tweaked it a bit by adding glow or blur, masking out some parts and spacing out the characters. For the protagonist, Chris, I blurred out his face this way for foreshadowing. With the way his posed, adding a blur enhances how it could make the viewers contemplate whether he's looking back at the necklace or away from it. Speaking of the necklace, I just blurred some parts of it to blend in with the background and added a sparkle to bring back some of the attention. For the character posters, I based the composition off of the messenger's original photo, with him holding up a necklace and it framing his face. For the background, I just added the moon, a grandfather clock, and the knobs of a watch. For the colors, I did this fiery look to reference the ending of the movie, which was also shown in the trailer earlier. Then the key point for me is Chris's reflection and his shades on the messenger's shades. This was actually not a part of the original concept, but was just an afterthought. Because as I was editing, I noticed that my reflection was on his glasses. Then, as I was covering it up, I had the idea to add Chris as the reflection, as it seems too empty to if something reflective doesn't reflect something. For Chris's poster, I did the same thing but in a more subtle way. Honestly, this is barely noticeable and maybe only I as the designer will see such small detail, but I also added the messenger's reflection in his eyes for consistency. And finally, let's head to the tutorial. Unfortunately, I won't be able to do it live since Photoshop lags while sharing the screen, so I would only narrate what's happening and realistically can do it under 30 minutes. So here it's a pre-recorded version of the tutorial. But before all that, let's first have a brief overview of how Photoshop looks. At the top most is the menu bar, and the most we'd use are File, Select, Image, and Filter. Then under that is the tool option bar, which shows how you can use the different properties of each tool. Then on the left is the toolbar, which is, self-explanatory. It's where all the tools are. Then on the right are the panels, which are either collapsed or open panels. And you can change the layout of your workspace depending on your needs, but by default, it's set to essentials. Then the presets, by the way, could be changed here at the top right, and you can customize your workspace by navigating under the Windows menu and just toggling on the panels that you need or removing those that you don't. And to make a new project, head to File and look for New or just press Control N. Then let's set our canvas to 2250 by 3000 pixels with 300 resolution. But feel free to lower these values if your computer slows down as you edit. By the way, you can change this while still like preserving all that you've done by going to the image menu and going to image size and then clicking on this link icon to keep the aspect ratio and then type in whatever value or lower the resolution. Okay, so first we're gonna do the background. Making a new project automatically locks the background solid color. To unlock it, just double click and then hit enter. And then drag and drop the image from your files directly onto the workspace. To navigate around your workspace, hold Alt and scroll to zoom in and out. Hold Control and scroll to go from left to right. Scroll just does the usual thing, which is going from up and down, up to down. And then to snap layers into place, hold Shift as you move something around. And then snapping goes with like 90 degrees, 180 degrees, and 45 degrees. By default, images are smart objects, which limits the amount of editing we can do to them, such as not being able to use selection tools or like brushing over the photo. To be able to use all tools in the image or the layer, right click on the layer and then choose rasterize layer. As you see, the original picture is much smaller than what's in the poster, so we have to extend it. To resize, press Ctrl T and drag any of the white boxes on the corners. Doing so allows you to resize, but it stretches the image. To scale it properly, hold Shift as you drag. And if you don't want to make changes to the position of the image, hold Alt and Shift to scale it in place. For this design, I also decided to flip the picture using the transform tool again. But this time, after hitting Ctrl T, right click and then select flip horizontal. I then remove the truck, by using the lasso tool. Make just make a rough cut of the selection and then right click, select fill, and choose content aware. I clean this up further by using patch tool and clone stamp. The patch tool functions by copying the pixels of the area you dragged into this selection. This selects the same way as lasso tool. And then a more concentrated version of this is the clone stamp tool, which uses a brush instead of a selection to sample pixels from. This also makes it softer in a way, makes transition between copied pixels smoother. For this, you have to hold Alt to mark your target area. Your target area is the one you're trying to copy, and then release it. Then that target area is gonna be a brush, and you can see it as you're dragging or like brushing over another area in your image. And then just brush it over the area you're trying to conceal or repeat. Luckily for this poster, it's okay to do this part roughly, and we'll add more since we'll add more images and textures for it anyway. We also don't have a complex sky for this, so we can just extend the image upwards by creating a new layer, which is this boxed plus sign icon on the lower right, and brushing on colors from the image. Just select the brush tool and then select soft round brush and lower the flow percentage for an airbrush look. You can select the colors from the image without switching to the eyedropper tool, which is this one right here, by pressing down Alt and clicking on the area you want to sample color from. And then your like brush will just go back to the brush tool. And you can change brush sizes by holding Alt and then clicking on your right mouse button and dragging your mouse to either left or right. And then you can also change the hardness or softness of your brush by holding the same keys, but by dragging your mouse up and down instead. You can see the values of it as you're doing that too. And then for the trees, we're going to mask out some parts of it to keep the misty, foggy atmosphere. You can just erase it using the eraser tool, but that's reversible as there's a limited number of actions you can undo in Photoshop. By the way, undo is Control Z for going back once and Control Alt Z for going back multiple times. Though this also depends on the settings in your software. Instead of erasing, we're gonna mask, which you can find here on the lower right next to the FX icon. The only thing you need to know about masking is that black is for hidden areas and white is for visible areas. So make sure that your brush color as you're going in the mask is either black or white, and then simply adjust the opacity for either harsher or softer masking. To easily switch between the brush colors, just press X. Then, to add more fog to the foreground and midground, we'll add overlays. For this, we'll play with the blending modes. Blending mode, by the way, is an effect wherein we modify how colors blend or interact with the layers below it. And then the most common ones used in photo editing are multiply, screen, overlay, and soft light. Multiply hides the whites or light values. In short, this shows the shadows of the image. And then screen does the opposite. So it shows the highlights. And then for overlay, overlay amps up the saturation of the overall image. And then soft light is a toned down version of overlay. For the fog, I used both screen and soft light. And then just like what I did with the trees, I removed some parts of the images, especially the harsh lines. And now that we're done with the background, let's group the layers for less clutter and lock the group to avoid accidentally modifying it later. For the main character, we'll first remove the background using the quick selection tool. Heading to the tool options bar and clicking on select subject. If your photo has good contrast, this is enough. But if you want to make more adjustments, head to select and mask. Here you can smoothen out your selection, reduce its size, or even refine the selection of the hair. For the blurred face effect, I just duplicated the selection of Chris and masked out everything except for his face. Before applying filters, I turned this layer into a smart object to preserve the original while still allowing the changes on the layer. I then added a motion blur, which is under the filter menu, and input my desired amount of blur and sync the angle to the subject's pattern. This, together with masking, is what we call non destructive editing. It is a technique wherein we try to keep the original image to allow for modifications later on. As I mentioned earlier, Photoshop limits undos. So, this technique is something we do to go around that condition. And for the necklace, I just did almost the same process. And the only difference is that I masked out some of the smart filter. It's just the same way with masking, but instead of like on the layers itself, it's applied to the filters we put on to the smart object. With all of that in place, we're going to refine it by using adjustment layers. This is situated down here beside the layer mask icon. For now, we'll only use hue and saturation, curves, and levels. To remove the green tint left by the green screen, or in your case, if you want to change hues within your photo, add a hue and saturation layer. Click on the drop down button with the word master and head to the color you want to change. You can change the hues up here and then change the value below that and then change the saturation. To only put this layer's effect on the layer we want to change, we have to clip it to the layer below by holding Alt and hovering your cursor in between this layer. Clipping a layer simply means limiting the layer above to the visible area of the one below so that those under this, like the layer below, are left unaffected. If you're happy with the use and values you tweak, let's properly blend the colors of subjects into the scene. To almost instantly go close to the color of the background, add a curves layer over the subject, then clip it to the layer below. Then back to the curves layer, double click on the graph icon, hold Alt, and then click on Auto. Head down to Find Dark and Light Colors, then further down to Target Colors and Clipping. Click on the box beside Shadow as the eyedropper tool shows up, pick the darkest value on the background image. So locate your black. And then click on the one beside highlights and pick the lightest value of your background or click on the white value and or click on your whites. If your select colors look off, you can adjust the values by clicking on the box again and making some adjustments to the color picker. But I suggest that you don't mess with the hue as it's the one we're trying to copy. Levels, on the other hand, changes the values of your photo more linearly, like darkening your shadows or brightening your highlights. Curves does the same thing, but in a more customizable way as what was demonstrated earlier. This is only if you want to like amp up your highlights or lower down your shadows. And then to add more light, I brushed it on manually to the areas near the source. So I just made a new layer and then color picked the highlight layer of the background image and then just brushed it on top of the subject. It's okay to not clip this one since it needs the softer look to like really blend in. Then I also did the same to the shadows and Chris's shoes and just varied the hardness and softness of my brush. I used screen blending mode for the light and then multiply for the shadows. With that done, the only thing left are text. Hit T to toggle text tool and then type in the content or whatever text you want to input. And just like in any other writing software, the typeface is situated up here on the tool options bar, together with the text size, font, and anti-aliasing. Anti-aliasing refers to the smoothing out or refining the edges of text, which for this project I kept at sharp. For the names of the starring actors, I kept them plain and just spaced out the characters. And same with the question. And then for the film title, I duplicated the plain text and then added the motion blur. In the text above, I masked out some parts and then added some glow and by double clicking on the layer and then ticking the outer glow box. I made the blend mode screen and then tweaked the size to have a more neon signage like look. Since having a larger size means making it softer and like less concentrated to the actual text itself. And then just hit OK once you're satisfied. And that's it for the film poster. Then let's proceed to the character poster. I'll skip ahead to the only thing that sets this apart from the techniques I use for the film poster, which is using gradient maps. Gradient maps are used to modify the use of your image by turning the darkest colors in the gradient to the shadows of your image, and the lightest colors of your gradient to the highlights of your image. For this effect, create a new group, change the group's blending mode to linear dodge, and then add a pure black solid color, and add a gradient map above it. Click the gradient icon and then the gradient bar. For this part, kindly take a screenshot of specific hex codes and placements, which you can add by clicking below the gradient bar. For now, we won't see any changes, and that's because of the blending mode. This one might be more complex than the ones mentioned earlier, but in simpler terms, having a linear dodge on simply means that only white values will be visible. And since we have a black solid layer below the gradient map, we have omitted the effects of the gradient map. To make it visible, let's add another layer in between the gradient and the black. It's important to take note that it has to be in between them, so like interferes with the white values that we're going to input. For this, we'll only use the brush tool with our color set to pure white. As you can see, those we brush on show the effect or like the colors of the gradient map. Somehow this is like masking, but in this case, we're more in control of the intensity of the layer we're masking out. And it does not interfere with the saturation of the gradient map's colors. To demonstrate how important grouping the layers, sequencing them, and applying the blend mode to the group itself is, this is what happens if that process is not followed. As you can see, it interferes with the values of the image itself, and instead of simply adding colors to it, it like lowered the saturation in some parts, made some parts grayish. And that's it for my speedrun demo. If you want to clarify anything, you'll have the freedom to do so in the question and answer session later. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Divine Isip, for that insightful presentation. I hope everyone can follow along. So, moving forward, now let's warmly welcome our second speaker, Mr. Gyasi Gavina. He is the second year of multimedia art student at the College of St. Anthony. He is one of the editors of Inservio and is a member of the Media Makers Organization. He's a photographer, graphic design artist, and video editor. He started doing graphic designing at the start of 2020 pandemic. He does freelance work and creates cover art, book covers, and sports design for commissions. He became a featured creative in the 12th issue of Novice magazine. And lastly, he is the editor of Pen Pen de Sarapen's poster for Antonian's College Film Festival of 2023. Let's give him a round of applause. You may now take the stage, Mr. Gyasi.
Hello, hindi po ba? So, ito po yung main poster ng Ben sa harapin na pinalabas nung Antonian Film Festival. And ngayon, papakita ko lang po yung concept behind the poster and yung mga inspiration na pinagkuhaan and onting tips. So, ito po yung mga inspiration ng poster. Nagawa ng director mismo ng Pen de Sarapen na si Kuya Ronel Cagigas. First, ito parang gusto niyang mangyari is ito nga sa taas si pencil, tapos ito si eraser. Kasi sila nga yung parang main bida sa film eh. Pero yan, ito yung una niyang naisip na idea. Sa pangalawa, ito. Then, yan, characters. Ito yung sa character poster na papakita ko rin mamaya. Then, ito yung parang pinagkuhaan ko ng idea, which is, kung kita naman, nasa bag sila. Kasi, yan, nagpo-foreshadow sa film. Nasa bag yung mga characters. Kaya, yun. Papakita ko sa inyo kung paano ko ginawa yung poster. Ayun, una, gaya ng sinabi ni Divine, pag nag-create ka ng isang Photoshop file, sisimulahin sa white lang na layer na nakalock. So, ito naka-unlock na kasi ito yung mismong Photoshop file eh. Hindi ginagawa ng bago. So, naglagay ako ng gray na background lang para magawa yun dito. Pwede kayong punta dito sa ito. Itong nasa taas. Kung ano yung nasa taas, ayun yung pwede mong pagawang kulay, pag furnace mo yung yung alt backspace. Yan. Alt backspace po yan. Tapos pag yung nasa baba naman yung gusto mong ilagay sa layer mo, control backspace. Yan. Alt backspace. Pag nasa taas, control backspace yung nasa baba. So yan, naglagay lang ako ng gray na pumili ako ng gray na color. Yan. Nalagay ko yan. Ay, mali. Yung layer, yan, alt backspace sabay. Kaya kung mapapansin nyo, may noise. Para magawa yun, punta lang po sa filter, noise. Filter, noise, tapos add noise. Tapos pwede nyong i-ano kung gaano ka-intense yung noise na gusto nyo. Siyempre, pag the lower the value, mas less lang yung kita. Pag mas mataas, mas marami. So, yun. Next, naglagay ako ng white background. Medyo hindi pa obvious kung bakit, pero mamaya makikita. So, ito po yung sketches na hindi po ako gumawa. Sinend lang sa akin na kasama ng title card, which is ito yung title card. Ito yung original title card. Ilagay ko lang yung mga character na, yung mga icons or logos ng character para may dagdag sa background. Nyari yan, yung t-shirt, yung eraser, matte textbook. Yan. Tapos next, syempre yung bag na malaking bagay sa film. Hindi naman malaki pero mahalagang bagay sa film. Tapos nilagyan ko lang siya ng parang, kung makikita nyo parang siya. Hindi totoo yung look niya. Para magawa, punta lang kayo sa filter gallery. Ito yung filter, sa taas filter gallery. Kung gusto nyo magaya yung itsura ng ganyan. Ito lang, chalk and alcohol. Yan. Pag wala yan, ganito yung itsura. Yan. Tapos, nilagyan ko ng stroke. Para lang wala. Ang hilig ko lang gumamit ng stroke. Naka-drop shadow. Tapos next, punta po tayo sa characters. Wait lang. Ito naman. So ito, una. Ito si notebook. Nilagay ko lang sa gitna kasi silang tatlo yung parang main bida sa film. Kasi yun, kaya ganyan yung kulay. Ini-smart object ko siya, tapos doon ko in-edit yung para kung gusto ko pang baguhin, pwede ko lang i-double click. Kasi once na, kunyari, hindi yan naka-smart object, ginawa mo yung rasterized layer, Pag dinouble click mo, hindi mo na siya mababago. Yan na siya. Pero kinaganda sa smart object, pag yun nga, sinelect mo yun, kumbaga, at magbubukas ulit ng another file para pwede mong i-edit kung may babaguhin ka pa o hindi. So yun, kaya naging kulay green kasi yun. Naglagay ako ng gradient map using ito, adjustments, tapos gradient map. Tapos yun, inano ko lang yung kulay nila. Ito yung color. Tapos kaya hindi, kasi di ba pag nilagay mo gradient map, ganito yung magiging kulay. Inano ko lang, nilaro ko lang yung blend if niya. Pag gumagamit kayo ng blend if, pwede nyo control yung nalagay yung adjustment sa sa isang bagay. So, yung saturation para lang mas blend. And yun. Tapos nilagyan ko lang ng shadow to. Sa ilalim para lang, syempre para more mag-blend. Kumbaga mas mapakita na nasa loob siya ng loob. Same lang sa kay pencil. Eraser, t-shirt, kasi ball pen, kasi matte textbook. So yun, para feeling ko masyadong dark eh. So nilagyan ko lang ng adjustment layer na levels para mas kita nyo ba yung pagbabago. Ay, sorry. Yan. Tapos next, ito naman yung sa title. Kung makikita nyo yung original title na binigay sa akin is nakaganto. Kaso pag nilagay yan parang hindi balance yung una ko nilagay. Kasi nasa taas yung pen, tapos gitna de. Tapos baba yung Sarah pen. So parang inedit ko na lang siya. Ito yung original, di ba? Ginawa ko, parang hiniwalay ko yung mga layers. Kasi dito ko lang kinuha yun. Yan. Next, nilagay ko lang po yung director, which is si Ronel Cabigas. Tapos ito, kasi ito yung parang plain tignan. So, mahilig rin ako maglagay ng mga textures sa gawa ko. Nilagyan ko lang ng parang paper texture. May so ito, subtle lang na details. Yan yung mga dark, yung mga shadows nagkaroon ng parang mga print texture. Next, yan. Ito, para lang mas mukhang mas mukhang messy tignan. Nilagyan ko lang ng mga parang dinumihan ko lang kumbaga. Tapos ito, para malagay yung mga character, yung mga actor names, nilagyan ko lang ng parang matawag dito. Parang paper lang din. Tapos nilagyan ko lang ng minas ko lang para lumabas yung zipper pa ng bag. Yan. Para makapagmas, punta lang kayo dito sa baba. Ito, pindutin nyo. Vector mask. Tapos yun, nilagyan ko lang ng shadow para mas makapag. Tapos next. Ito, nilagyan ko lang din ng parang paper tier sa taas. Para bagay naman. At hindi. Tapos yun, nilagay ko lang yung actor's name. Yes, yan. Then, nilagyan ko ng parang thumbtacks sa taas. Para dagdag wait, wala. Ayan. Nilagyan ko ng shadow. Mukhang realistic kunyari. Yun lang. Tapos sa character naman, ito, example ng character poster. Parang basic lang, same lang naman yung design kung makikita. Ang pinagkaiba lang, yung nasa taas na, yun na yung yung parang pinaka-character name. Yan, kunyari siya sa extra t-shirt. Ito si ballpen. Nilagay ko lang sa baba yung title ng film, tapos yung date ng showing na, which is October 23. Ganun lang din yung style na ginawa ko. Kita naman. Iniba ko lang yung pwesto ng mga punit, kunyari. Makikita nyo. Yung, dito sa top left, tapos ito naman sa top right. Ganun lang. And yun. Sana may natutunan kayo. And sana may inspiring kayong gumawa kung gusto nyo. Yun lang.
Thank you, Mr. Giasi Gabriel. Ravina for that comprehensive sharing. Before we get to our question and answer portion, let's welcome Mr. Alan Parma, a college lecturer, to share his knowledge about the film posters.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to your webinar. I want to congratulate the team for this amazing program. You guys are lucky to get webinars like these. We didn't have anything like this when I was in high school back in the late 1900s. While there are many YouTube tutorials about Photoshop and graphic design in general, I find that having actual mentors that you can interact with directly really useful and meaningful. Again, kudos to Divine, Jassy, and the rest of the team who prepared for this webinar, and I hope we can have many more of these in the future. Now let's take a look at the movie posters. Posters, by the nature of the medium, should catch the audience's attention and deliver its message in the least amount of time as possible. The way we're viewing posters now, like the posters here in the webinar, is not really representative of its use case. Like for example, for movie posters, where do we usually see these? Usually in the mall, right, or in the theater, where the theater or the hallway of the theater, or maybe a billboard in EDSA, or if you still read newspapers in the entertainment section. In other words, we don't really spend time to stop and look at it like we're looking at it right now, unless it really grabs our attention. And for movie posters, it's tricky to do this because as a movie maker, if you're the director, you want to entice your audience to watch your movie, but keep the integrity of being true to your movie's message. That's why for movies with big budgets, usually movie posters and trailers are made by professional marketers, not the directors themselves. This is because the goal is to sell tickets, right? To recoup the investment that the producers made. It's not really, maybe the second priority is to communicate the story or what the movie is about. So for critiquing, I like to use the sandwich method. I don't know if you've heard of that technique. But the sandwich method when critiquing is usually the first layer, the first slice of bread is to say positive things first. Then the middle, or yung palaman, is the saying the things that might need improvement or your suggestions. And then end with a positive note. So that's the bottom, the last slice of bread. So for domain 13, so one of the things I like about the domain 13 poster is good hierarchy. Right? Our eyes are directed toward the main character and the title immediately, because those are the things that are in the middle of the screen. And there's a balance between the main character and the title. There's an air of mystery because the face is blurred, so my motion blur on the face, and there's a mysterious object on the foreground, on the bottom, on the foreground. The subtext, right? There's a little summary, gives us an idea of what the movie is about. And then, given the subtext and the fact that I've seen the movie myself, I hope you guys have already seen these two movies now. I can make a few suggestions on how to improve the poster. So since the movie is about, spoiler alert, so fast forward, you don't want to know what the movie is about. So if it's about multiverses, I would communicate that idea more. Right? In this poster, they focused on the main character and an object, right? That the character seemingly abandoned on the ground. It might be more interesting if they somehow illustrated the idea of a multiverse more. Maybe duplicate the main character and have multiple panels, backgrounds behind him. Diba? Yung idea of there are multiple versions of either your surroundings or yourself, right? Or maybe the main character is browsing through multiple screens, like if you're looking at your Netflix feed, right? Or a YouTube feed. There could be 13 screens there, call back to the title, to the main 13. I would also make the title larger, right? Because right now it's really small on the poster. Since the title is interesting, because again you don't really know what it means, but there's an air of sci-fi to the title, and you could argue that the title of the movie is the most important part of the poster. So naturally, so if you're following the rules of hierarchy, that should really be the biggest thing in the poster. The alternate posters are also nice as they also contribute to the mysterious nature of the movie. This technique also works, the technique of having the actor's face dominating the poster. If you want to attract your audience because they might know the actors in the movie. So if this is in the context of a student film, and you want to showcase your classmates. So, see ano pala to, right? In the poster. So I'm gonna watch this movie because I want to see this guy, my classmate or my friend, act in the movie. You also notice this technique in most Hollywood posters, because, where the famous actor really is the main part of the poster. Kasi usually that's the main reason why people watch a movie. Who's in it, right? Sino ba yung starring dito? That's why I'm gonna watch the movie. However, I would suggest in this case using more of a medium shot instead of really a close-up of the face, so that we see more of a half body instead of the head shot. So that way we can probably have more space to communicate that multiverse element. We have more space behind the actors. Overall, the posters are composed well and the elements blend together well. And I hope you've learned that in this webinar now, how to blend your composition in Photoshop. And the colors work well, and everything it's unified, hindi sila mukhang disjointed. Kasi I think we know that the background is different and the foreground is a separate element, etc. So now let's move on to Pen Desarapen, the posters. So again, the main poster has great hierarchy. We see the title first because it's the first one on top, right, of the frame. And even though the multiple characters dominate the poster, somehow we still read the title first because we naturally read from top to bottom. And the poster gives us a feel of the movie because of its analog and cut out elements, as well as the texture of the paper in the overall poster. And then the alternate posters also work, and they even have better hierarchy because the text has better contrast than even the main poster kasi black over white background. So I would suggest having the same color setup for the text from the alternate posters to the main poster to give it better contrast. And I also like in the alternate posters, you have the date in the bottom right, on the bottom right corner of the poster. So this is another call to action, right? This is a call to action to your audience, which is very important. In any poster or billboard, you need to tell your audience what they can do. Now, once they see your poster, what now can you do? So a date is a part of a call to action, so you know when the movie is showing. So it would be better if you also show where, right, where the movie is showing. So whether it's in the auditorium, right, or in YouTube, maybe an address or a QR code that people can scan to see a trailer or the movie itself. So again, having seen the movie, I would further improve the hierarchy of the main poster by making the main characters siguro retain the size or maybe make them a little bit bigger and then shrink the supporting characters even more. No? And then, so yeah, that's it. So overall, it's a nice concept. And without the subtext, right? Without having the need to write like a short summary, the audience somehow gets a feel na siguro this is gonna be fun kasi it's playful, there's our cutouts. Again, spoiler alert, there are many animated elements in this movie, but without saying that it's an anime, semi-animated film, somehow we get that feel from the poster. So again, nice job, everyone. I look forward to seeing the participants of the webinar, the work. I understand that you guys are also making your own posters and apply what you guys have learned in this webinar. So if you're interested in pursuing a career or a degree in multimedia or graphic design, I encourage you to continue your studies here at CSA. So together with me and the rest of our professors, not only do we teach you about the fundamentals, right, the elements and principles of design, design practices, and various theory in filmmaking, in graphic design, in web development or web design. We also have multiple projects. We conduct projects so that this will enable our students to experience the various processes and to prepare you to prepare our students for the real world scenarios. Okay? So again, thank you for attending this wonderful webinar and congratulations again to the organizers. I hope to see you all in CSA soon. Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Parma. Now, let's welcome Ms. Nessa Vedarozaga, a multimedia arts lecturer, to give short critiques on the posters of our two speakers.
Read the poster of Domain 30. Color-wise, it is pleasing in the eyes. Cool yung colors niya. And kitang-kita where the horizon meets the ground. The text, the typography, it's perfect for yung hierarchy niya is well established. But unfortunately, for the object placed in the poster, hindi ko alam kung pwedeng ka?
Yes.
With the character poster, when it comes to the photo of the character, okay naman siya. Medyo out of the box. It is out of the box na yung usual na pagpapakita ng character view or how it is placed in that layout. Also, they maintain the typography, consistent siya doon. But Unfortunately, the color, the theme color of the movie or the poster, medyo hindi siya consistent from yung layout na pinakita kanina. Hopefully sana nalagyan siya kahit konting mga blue, especially kasi yun yung dominant sa unang poster. Sana na-apply din siya within this character poster. With the pen design, actually the overall look, it is quite nostalgic, lalo na sa amin mga naabutan ng 80s. But ito na yung yung mismong mga details niya. The title itself It's good because I could see it, I could read it even from this far. Also, the name of the character is written, also who's the director. All the credits, I could see them properly. The only thing that I could medyo kailangan palitan is the bag. I wasn't able to notice that it is a bag until one person pointed it out to me. Ang problem is sana pag ganitong may mga items na nilalagay as representative or something, sana na mas iconic yung mga nilalagay na items. Like, if it's bag, kung ano yung iconic na bag sana nilagay dito and not totally black because from this side, I could see it. Mas mukha siyang chair, foldable chair kasi sa bag. For the character poster pen sana. It is unique. Actually, I love it. I love that I could see the eraser the person as a represent is just the representation of the thing. But yun nga, may hawak silang yung nire-represent nilang item. I suggest here, sana nilakihan nila. Yung talagang kita na sa talagang inedit nila until this day. And then yung ginamit nilang type of eraser is, if this is nostalgic in 80s and 90s, the nostalgic look of eraser way back then, yung may black and then the white na hati, sana ganun din yung ginamit nilang eraser.
Thank you, Ms. Nessa and Mr. Parma. I hope you took notes from the critics to help you create better posters. Now, let your creative juices flow and unleash your hidden designer skills, as each participant today must create and pass a film poster of your choice. The film format will be JPEG, and each shall use Photoshop. In case a person does not have Photoshop software or may use the online version, either Photopea or Pixlr. You may use multiple photo editing software as long as Photoshop, Photopea, and Pixlr is one of them. After this webinar, we will pick the best three posters to receive a small token from us. Here are the criteria for judging your reference. The participants are instructed to make a movie poster. The movie poster could be a remake of ACFF films Domain 13 and Pen Pen de Sarapen, or a movie of their own choice. Submissions would be judged by this criteria: 30% creativity, 25% content, 25% cohesiveness, and 20% relevance of the film. Three winners would be chosen and would be granted a small token of our webinar heads. Submissions would be included in the evaluation form to be provided by the end of the webinar proper. The poster shall be submitted on or before 11:59 p.m. today, December 4, 2023. Hence, the floor is open to our question and answer portion. You may ask our speakers freely, whether it be a tip, a clarification, or a concern. You may raise your hand and open your mic or type it in the chat box. So, are there anyone? Any questions? Um, for example, this is a question for both speakers. Where do you look for inspiration? Or what is your process in creating film posters?
Hello, can I answer first? Okay, so for inspirations, of course, I look online, and then sometimes I already have a very specific style in mind, especially if it's something that is like famous to a genre like ours for a sci-fi film, we see a lot of like light flares or like the motion blur that I did for the poster. So that's that. And then I also sometimes sketch out how I will do the composition. So and then I also get inspired when I'm searching for assets or reference pictures for the final output. So I look for that in sites like Pexels or Unsplash. Those are like free image source sites. You can get free images there, and then you don't have to credit the photographers, but you can just use it for non-commercial use. So that's it for me.
Hello. Sa akin naman, ano kasi ako, parang, marami akong style na gusto, hindi lang isang style sa pagde-design. Kasi yun, nakakaapekto rin yung pagkuha ng inspiration sa maraming bagay. Kunyari ako naman sa online nga rin, sa Instagram or sa Pinterest. Tapos before ako gumamit, ako gumawa ng mood board. Alam niyo yung mood board, yun yung parang collection ng mga pwede mong inspiration para tapos ilagay mo sa isang canvas para kung need mo ng need mo ng inspiration, pagsasama-samahin mo na lang para bago ka gumawa or pag gumagawa ka, yun yung titignan mo. So, yun. Sa online din.
So, like, any more questions? Questions like regarding the tutorials from speakers or regarding to the film posters they will pass. Any more? Okay. Questions for both speakers. What initially inspired or motivated you to start learning how to use Photoshop and to create poster designs? Was it easy to learn from the beginning? And how did you overcome the challenges in learning?
Um, for me, I started learning Photoshop back in like seventh grade or eighth grade. For I just wanted to make my Twitter layout look good, so I searched for a tutorial on how to make like a K-pop bias as a header, and then that's how I started learning. Basically, it's a mix of watching tutorials and then trying out the software yourself. Since I'm a kinesthetic learner, I learn by experiencing what it is I'm studying about, and I guess it's easy for a beginner, but as you progress or if you want to be like in an intermediate level, that's when I hit a slump. So I kinda like stop at photo editing na is more geared towards K-pop or like a very not so refined na style. But if you remember those outputs na I showed for the introduction, yung from POP icons na organization, that's where I learned how to edit in a more realistic editorial way. So yeah, that's my experience with learning Photoshop. And then uh, how did I overcome challenges in learning? So I overcome challenges in learning by finding a new technique to learn. I didn't put it here on my past works, but I also did like vector or vexel art. So basically, ayun po yung mga illustration na you kind of see in Canva, like yung mga corporate in illustrations. Basically, even this like elements here in in the presentation, that's the one I practiced. So it kind of gave me a rest on like editing realistic compositions. That's all.
Hello po. Ayun sa akin naman, simula pa dati, mga high school, mahilig na ako sa creative. Kunyari, kailangan ng mag-edit ng video or mag-edit ng photo. Pero ako sa cellphone lang ako gumagawa dati. Alam niyo ba yung PixArt? Doon lang ako nag-edit ng photo na kunyari mga design ko. design kunwari, gano'n. Tapos nung nag-pandemic, doon ako nag-aral ng Photoshop. And yun, mahilig ako gumawa dati ng mga cover art ng mga kunyari mga hip-hop na ng mga artist sa Pinas, local, gano'n. Tapos post ko, tapos tatag ko sila. Tapos pag nirepost nila yun, syempre, nakakatuwa. Tapos yun, hanggang tumagal, parang ganun din, natututo lang rin ako sa sarili ko, YouTube. Kasi nasa internet na po lahat kung search nyo. Ang dali na lang matuto ng Photoshop. And sa ibang bagay din. Tapos yun, marami akong tinatry. Kunyari, cover art, at mga sports design, tapos movie poster, hindi naman gaano. Pero nakagawa na rin ako ng konti na, kunyari, fan art. Ganun. Tapos yun, was it easy to learn in the beginning? Ayun nga, pag nagsimula ka, madaling matutulan na pag eager ka. Kasi, kunyari, marami kang nakikita inspiration. Sa search mo lang kung ano nakita mo. Pwede mo nang makita yung tutorial sa YouTube. Tapos yun, how did you overcome the challenges in learning? Wala lang, try lang ng try. Basta gawa lang ng gawa. Hanggang, naman, matututo ka lang eh. Maggawa ka ng gawa. So, yun. Thank you.
Thank you. There's another question from Ariane. Are there similar questions for both speakers? Are there similarities between designing film posters and game posters for promotional purposes, given that some games are story driven?
For this one, I think there is a striking difference. Though I guess may similarities if it's games na story driven. Mostly kasi for games, text heavy yung publication materials nila since you're really trying to sell something, and then of course you need to have concrete context of what's in the game. And then for me, I think dun sa like games na story driven, it is almost similar to how film posters are made. Like title lang, and then if it's something that used motion capture, like the game The Last of Us, yun po. We also put like the actor and then a little bit about the plot of the story. If it's something like that, then I guess there are like it's almost similar. But again, if it's something like gacha, if you know you play Genshin, ganun po, then there's more text in the pub mats na produced for this type of games.
Hello. Ayun, nasabi naman ni Duboy. Dagdag ko lang. Pansin ko lang din. Pag game posters, more on yung mga character dun or yung mismo is vectorized, parang gano'n. Kasi pag sa film naman, syempre, pwede silang gumamit ng photograph ng real actors or real, tapos edit na lang. Ganun.
Thank you. So, are there any more questions? Hmm. Ah, from Elaine. So, how do you deal with creative art block in editing slash making posters po? Or do you have any tips of what we can do if we have an art block? Yeah, question for both speakers.
Me, I deal with creative art block by sleeping or like showering since parang I don't know, there's something about it that gets you going when you wake up or like after you shower. You have peaceful time to just conceptualize without having to actually look at something. So it's like you're imagining something, and then it's not actually a visual thing, so you're not overwhelmed na, oh, this I have to do this layout, I have to compose it like this. But if you imagine it in that way, there's just more freedom sa when you start getting to do it. But if it's something na out of hobby lang, like if I wanted to make a poster without it being like a school requirement or something like that, I just look at my past works and then compare yung progress ko. And then and I noticed na very yung difference ng progress ko as an artist. Parang na-inspire ako to just, improve more on it. Ito po.
Hello. Sa akin naman ano, ako currently may art ba ako, eh. Tagal na rin. And ano lang, hindi ko pini-pressure yung sarili ko gumawa, gano'n. Pero dati parang last month tinry ko ng 30 days challenge na mag-design ako sa sarili ko lang, parang ise-save ko lang sa sarili ko. Parang tinry ko yun ta's yun, minsan pangit rin pilitin yung sarili kasi hindi mo naman nagagawa yung gusto mong gawin, gano'n. So, feeling ko ano lang, pahingahin mo lang, antayin mo lang yung sarili mo magkaroon ng creative juice. Pero yun, kung need na kumbaga need mo gumawa ng something, yun kumuha ka lang din ng inspiration.
So, are there any more questions? Hmm. So, if there's none, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your questions. So, moving forward, we could not have completed this successfully without the attendees and speakers who gave up their time to attend this webinar. So, let us move forward to the awarding of the certificates. So, I would like to give this certificate of appreciation to Miss Divine Isip, Mr. Gyasi Gavina, Mr. Alan Parma, Miss Nessa Veterog Uzaga, and Miss Flor Mestica for sharing their insightful knowledge during the visual manipulation, formulating stories through film poster design webinar. So right now, this is given in the 4th of December. So we thank our speakers and instructors for sharing their valuable knowledge in graphic design. And we also thank everyone for joining us today. To make this webinar more special, as we wrap this webinar, we hope you've learned a lot from sharing of our speakers in terms of creating layouts, especially film posters. We also hope you can consider taking up the multimedia arts course, as it is an exciting field to begin with. So once again, thank you everyone. So let's give them a virtual clap. Now, before we properly end this webinar, may I call on Mr. Harvey Salboro to have our closing prayer. Thank you for the prayer. Meron po did anyone raise their hands po?